Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the MidBeach Neighborhood Association's meeting. Today is January 7th, 2026. And today's meeting is going to feature the upcoming Fontainebleau redevelopment, and they'll be presenting and we'll have an opportunity to discuss the project in detail. But before we do, we'd like to share a little more about MBNA, or the MidBeach Neighborhood Association. We represent the interest of hotels and condominiums between 24th and 63rd Street along Collins Avenue and Indian Creek Drive. We've been in association since 2017, and we're here today and very excited to be with you all and very proud of all of our members. We want to thank everyone that has reached out, in particular about this topic, and also those that are working within our working groups. Before we go into the details of our working group, I'd like to take a moment and welcome our elected officials. Today we have Mayor Stephen Miner with us. Mayor Miner?
And Marie, he'll be right with us.
Thank you so much, Veronica. And hi, Commissioner Magazine.
Hi, how are you?
Hi. Thank you, Commissioner, for being with us. Are there any other commissioners that, Commissioner Tanya Bott?
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Commissioner Bott. Thank you for being here. I believe we have Commissioner Alex Fernandez's aide, Kara.
Hi, yes, I'm here.
Thank you so much for being with us. Commissioner Laura Dominguez.
Hi, everybody. Happy New Year.
Hi, Commissioner. Thank you for being with us. And anyone else that I might have missed?
I'm here.
Hi, Commissioner Suarez. Thank you so much for being here. Those are the shortest introductions I've ever seen you all do. Is there anyone else that I might have missed?
Well, I'm here now, so hello.
There he is.
Thank you so much, Mayor Miner. Is there any of the elected officials who would like to make any comments? I know Commissioner Suarez, you have a special condominium town hall meeting coming up where we'll have the county and the state and the city officials with us to better understand how permitting process and anyone going through the Sears or recertification, and what can we do to expedite that process? What is the process? What will be expected? How can condominiums bring their plans in on a weekly basis and sit down with the city staff and work through them to be able to ensure that we have less quicker turnaround and less going back and forth on our plans? So that is Monday, February 2nd at 6 p.m. and it's a hybrid meeting. You're hosting it at the commission chambers and you're also doing it hybrid. Where those that can participate via Zoom as well. MBNA is not having a meeting in February. In lieu of our meeting in February, we're going to be meeting at the condominium town hall and supporting Commissioner Suarez in that effort. Commissioner Suarez, anything you want to share a little more about the town hall?
Listen, thank you for the introduction, Anna Marie. I don't want to take too much time from this meeting. It'll be well publicized, and it's going to be very much informative. And we also want to take feedback from all the condo associations on the pain points that we've been hearing. So it's going to be well attended, and I'm going to try to make sure that even the condo ombudsman from the state of Florida will be there.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other comments or any other updates from our elected officials today?
Yeah, Anna Marie, I'll just go real quick in a similar fashion. One of the things that I think we've almost all collectively been working on as a unified body is fixing our building department, the permitting process in general, whether it be for residents, for businesses, and the permitting to get businesses open, and also to help our residents for their in their homes, in their apartments, to help fix that process. We've been working just nonstop with staff probably over the past year and a half. I was speaking with the mayor's assistant today. February, we're coming in on the date, but it'll either be the 17th, 18th, or 19th. We're going to be having a meeting with city staff. We want to invite all of our residents, whatever elected officials are able to attend, and really just having an update on the improvements that process has made, where we still need to essentially continue pushing forward. And the only way to get better about this is hearing feedback from the residents. So, of course, MidBeach Neighborhood Association, all of its constituents, absolutely welcome for that. You've been instrumental in kind of pushing forward some of those changes. I had a legislative item this past meeting relating to the recertifications, the pool decks that I know you're all instrumental on. So just know that we're all collectively continuing to work, and we'll include you at every step of the process. So thank you for all of that.
Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Commissioner Magazine. Yes, sorry. Does somebody want to add to that?
No, just to echo what Commissioner Magazine was saying, if you saw the last meeting, there was a number of items, including one I had to literally get rid of a number of regulations that don't have to do with life safety, and you saw a commission fully unified that this has to be fixed. There's so much potential right now. I mean, obviously for our residents and condos, but also for businesses that are looking to come here. Some recent businesses that have opened have told me they have multiple chains around the world. They've never seen the amount of volume they've had since they've opened here in Miami Beach. So there's interest. We just got to get these businesses open. So it's great to see. Thank you, Commissioner Magazine, for bringing up doing this meeting. And certainly I think you're going to see a unified approach from our commission to mandate a much better permitting system.
That's great. Thank you so much, Mayor Minor. So if I'm hearing correctly, we're going to have a series of events that are going to help us prevent another tragedy happening in one of our coastal buildings. It's going to help us all get to par and be able to update our buildings, go through that permitting process, and open businesses in those buildings that are mixed use or have businesses in the MidBeach or throughout the city of Miami Beach. But since we focus here on MidBeach, and we're hearing the difficulty that businesses are having in opening up quickly. So thank you. It's going to start on February 2nd. That is Monday. It's going to be 6 p.m. in the chambers. It will be followed up right after the trauma of experiencing the boat show. Although no lanes will be closed for this boat show, we've really advocated strongly for that. And we're going to be able to enjoy the experience. Right after that, around February 16th or 17th, we'll have an opportunity to meet with the building department. And then, as Mayor Minor has mentioned, these processes are ongoing, and there's legislation at each one of the commission meetings that will help augment these efforts and speed this up. So before we get to our featured item for today and we hand over to the Fontainebleau development for their presentation, we would like to go over quickly some working group updates. As we know, the MBNA has working groups when we don't meet with membership meetings. So our calendar is out for this year. We'll have membership meetings once a month. January, February, we're going to be focusing on condo permitting process, building process. We will not have a monthly meeting. In March, we'll have a member meeting. April, we'll have our annual meeting, and then we take a summer recess where we only work on working groups. That's where a lot of the real work happens. So if you're engaged in MBNA, you want to be part of the beach and water quality, the Indian Creek, the Collins Avenue, the beach walk, or 41st Street, or any of the other topics that we're focused on, you can join one of those working groups. So for the commission, for the city, for the mayor, as we're looking at our beach and water quality, we have provided lots of recommendations. Beach Rakers contract for sargassum pickup is coming back to you. We'd like for you all to see it before the county blesses it and approves it in May, to be able to make those tweaks that we've requested. So additional pickups depending on the tides. Also allowing for larger equipment when there is a surplus of sargassum, allowing for equipment and capacity to be able to collect and dispose of that sargassum appropriately, and for us to be able to plan for these adjustments ahead of time. Also allowing for a little more flexibility in the SOP and being able to not only have that equipment, that heavier equipment, but also in the timing and the execution of sargassum collection and removal, since it impacts all of our properties. For 41st Street, we're continuing to be part of that process. Please send your updates. Thank you so much, Avra Bank, for being a representative and assisting with so many suggestions that are helping to improve the promenade, Miami Beach Promenade. That's between 24th and 29th. It's adjacent to the beach walk. There is money that has now been secured through the advocacy of MBNA and the city's leadership. There is a master plan that's underway for that area, also short-term improvements that will be all paved. It will be all painted and look like new paving. before that master plan is implemented. Please participate. There's meetings that are going on beginning next Tuesday in smaller groups. There's also a survey that Oscar will put in the chat in a moment that you can click on and provide your feedback. In addition to the promenade, we have the Indian Creek Waterway. So we had Giovanni, we have staff members that keep on coming and going. So our lead staff member at the city that was help guiding MBNA on the Indian Creek pathway to ensure that it's a continuous path from 24th to 31st. There is that piece of land that we've been advocating, or jetting, or a walkway jetting out over the water, but we need that walkway to be continuous. It can't be separated out. The first plans presented in about 6 years ago only allowed a 4-block walkway. We're really proud that now it's up to 11 blocks, but we need to finalize that, and hopefully the city will have a staff member on, or be able to redirect us to someone else that can help guide MBNA in that advocacy and figure out how to get that, how we can work together to get that completed. A special thanks to Kevin Pulido, and much luck in his next venture. We'll be missing him. His last day is Friday. Alicia Casanova, did you want to say a few words?
Basically, that I'm heartbroken, and so are all of us, and it's a huge loss for our city. Kevin has been an extremely professional, loyal, and dedicated person who's a liaison between all of us and the city. And we were all floored when we heard about this, and it is a huge loss for all of us. But of course, we wish him all the best. I'm sure he's got his reasons for leaving us, but Kevin, always know that we are here for you, and that we are very, very appreciative. By the way, Monica, our newly elected commissioner, has joined us earlier, and Marie, so maybe she can say hi. Kevin, thank you so much again. We really, really appreciate it. Heartfelt thanks.
May I just say, I'm going to miss Kevin so much. I mean, Kevin, who's going to help me with the ducks and the pigeons and the squirrels on the 53rd Street Park? I don't know who's going to help me with that. I mean,
hopefully,
you
Gabriela.
are truly going to be missed. Yes. I mean, Kevin can tell you some stories about us, but thank you, Kevin, for everything you've done. And I am going to miss you like you will not understand. Thank you.
I know.
And I'm going to hold back from saying how much I'll miss Kevin, because I may cry during the meeting. I think MBNA is what it is because of the relationships we have with the city, and we have our biggest and greatest liaison to this point has been Kevin. And if every neighborhood association had a Kevin that can push, which I know we do now, and there's a structure, and I really appreciate Melissa and Gabrielle and everybody on the team, and everybody is wonderful. We just have personally had the most contact with Kevin, and it's he won the first award MBNA gave for outstanding staff member at the city, and I think that you've left such a model for others to copy. So thank you for your service. We really appreciate it. Before we move on, Shaprani, so I met with Ray Melendi earlier today, and we're really excited that their demolition is going to be wrapping up by April. They're meeting with the Amman in the coming months. We're going to be talking about that park, that underutilized space that MBNA has been advocating for, a really art-enhanced, pet-friendly area that will help. We don't have a lot of green space throughout. So as you know, MBNA has been working for many years to help revive the 46th Street lot and the park, and $800,000 was secured to be able to redo that park. And we're so proud of the Indian Beach Park becoming MidBeach Park with MBNA. And we're looking to hopefully reutilize or kind of reactivate that open space as well. And now a little bit further south, next to those two beautiful properties that are coming to our area. We're really excited about the developments, and just so happy to see how that's moving forward. Last update before I get to Fontainebleau, I promise. So the 2 turn lanes are in the works. You see the median. It started really fast and it's going a little slower than we wanted to, but we heard that piece will be over by next week, and then the crosswalk will be in place. After that portion, the pain you'll feel it a little bit more. They'll be a bit harder. And then as we're going on to 41st, that traffic is going to build up again. You know, we have 5 years of construction coming to Collins Avenue where we'll have lanes reduced to 1 lane for several long periods at a time. It's important for MBNA members and any property between 41st and 63rd to be actively engaged with FDOT as we have our monthly calls, as we have our meetings with them, because the MOTs are going to impact your properties, they're going to impact your driveways, and anybody that has events, etc. It's going to be a very, very large project, and it's going to be a long project, and this is our one and only road. So please get engaged. MBNA did send recommendations through our representative, Oscar Vasquez, on the Transportation Committee about Art Basel. We welcome the art installations. We're so excited about them. This is our 2nd year. But city, stop leaving it to chance. Actually make a plan that works and that allows some kind of, we have to be able to alleviate the traffic and alleviate the burden that we all go through in that week. You can't keep on saying, oh, we had no idea it was going to be this successful. We've heard those from North Beach and South Beach who thought this year was so much better with the water taxi and everything else. Us in MidBeach did not feel that. We felt lots of pain. We were so excited about the art installations, but it was really hard to navigate through our few roads here in MidBeach. So we made some recommendations, and we hope that you'll take them seriously and that we'll see some type of leadership and difference in the next planning and the next go. So now to our featured presentation for today. It is the Fontainebleau Water Park. And I say water park because we strongly have always supported as an organization redevelopment and development of properties in MidBeach. We have a brand we're going for here in MidBeach. When MBNA started, we got less money than any other neighborhood. The amount of taxes that we pay into our budget and the amount that we were receiving back was significantly less than we are receiving now. And that is what MBNA is doing, is trying to help, trying to bring the beach walk, trying to bring other amenities and uplift our assets here and ensure that our community is becoming better and better. And so we're excited about Fontainebleau re-envisioning their property to make it a family-friendly, centered environment. But the way that is coming across, and we're going to hear more about that project, why variances would be needed, how a 10-story slide would be needed, how hundreds of feet of slides, how the storm, the water system, the noise, a lot of environmental impacts that we have concerns about, from the erosion line to the water to the noise, what this will do for those property and the owners on the site, what this will do for our community, how this is only going through the Historic Preservation Board rather than a full transportation, traffic study or others. And as you discuss your capacity, and we know your capacity is so large, even when you inch a little bit closer to meeting capacity, we feel it in the community. The roads are blocked. The traffic is horrendous. It's hard to get through. We never complain because we're excited to have the Fontainebleau in our community, but there's a limit to the amount of development along the coast, encroaching on the beach walk, and that we can support the size of something of this magnitude. So it's not the concept, and it's been hard for us. So we've reached out, MBNA has reached out to all of their members. We've asked for a support, an opposition, or abstaining from this item. We're still receiving those letters. The majority in the current phase and the way it is opposed. We're hoping that folks will listen today and maybe be able to ask questions and engage and see if there's something that we're not fully, that we'd like to hear more about. Before I hand it off to the Fontainebleau, I'd like to welcome again our elected officials. Is there anyone that would like to make any comments on this item or anything else that's been mentioned? For the commissioner that I was unable to introduce earlier, if you would like to jump in.
Hi, Anna Marie. I'm here. It's Monica Mateo Salinas. It's really a pleasure to be here and frankly an honor. And I'm really just so grateful that I'm living my dream, which is serving the residents of Miami Beach. And it's great to be here. So thanks for having me. And I'm really interested to hear what's going to happen with the Fontainebleau and the water park. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Monica. Thank you so much, Commissioner, for being with us today. Okay. So Anthony, you have the controls.
I do have the controls. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having us today. We're excited to be able to present to you. We've got a presentation that we're going to kind of walk through pretty quickly. But first and foremost, thank you for the time tonight. And we're hoping that this presentation really clarifies a lot of what we're doing here and offers context to the new development that we're doing at Fontainebleau. So once again, thank you for the time. Give me 1 second while I share my screen. Okay. Okay, can everybody see it okay?
Yes.
There we go. So I know we've only got 10 or 15 minutes, so I'm going to unfortunately kind of go through this very quickly, but happy to, during the Q&A session, to kind of go back to whatever anybody wants to speak about, and I'm here to answer questions. So in terms of the presentation that we're going to go through, I'm going to quickly overview the existing property as it is today, and then obviously the pool improvements that we're proposing for the future. I want to go through operational information for everybody, so it's just crystal clear how this space and how these amenities for our hotel guests are going to operate in the future. I want to go through design updates. So we've been meeting with community members, we've heard the HPB, we've heard staff, and we've made substantial changes to this project, both physically, architecturally, and programmatically since the last meeting. The HPB meeting that we presented at. And then I want to leave time to go through pedestrian view studies that we've done, just to show the whole group exactly what this is going to look like as you walk by it on the beach walk. So for the folks that are less familiar with this property, this is the Fontainebleau that we're looking at right now, which all started with a single historic building at the core of it, which we called the Chateau building. So that's what you're seeing in the middle. Since that building was built in the 1950s, though, this property has really expanded into more so a master plan, a collection of newer buildings that have been added over time, which have been really important for this property in terms of making sure that it maintains relevance and remains competitive and honestly, stays an iconic property that people travel from all over the world to come and stay at our resort. In terms of some of the specifics, if folks don't know, just to do a little history lesson here, the original building was built in 1954 and was designed by Morris Lapidus. The second building that was added was just to the north. It's called the Versailles building, which is there in the purple. And then in 2005 and 2008, there were major changes, kind of major additions and major changes made to the entire property, including multiple skyscrapers, and then pool revisions and pool changes and additions that have been made over time as well. Again, this has been very important for us to make sure that the property is still somewhere that people want to go and that we have best in class kind of amenities for all of our guests, which this project, from our perspective, are amenities just for our hotel guests. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. The pool deck, which really is intrinsically at the core of the Fontainebleau, and from Morris Lapidus's perspective, was the heart of the project that he wanted to do here, has been structurally demolished and then rebuilt multiple times throughout history, which we'll kind of walk through. But similar to the rest of the property, it too has evolved to create a destination environment that people want to go to that's changed over time. So just to go back through history here a little bit, this is the original architectural model from Morris Lapidus. What you'll see is the Chateau Tower that I was just pointing out, and then also some of the cabana structures and pool structures that were originally planned for this property that were adjacent to the beach. Here's a look at what that looked like when it was completed in 1954. And this is actually the image that we got our inspiration from in terms of the architectural interventions that we'll kind of walk through and we are proposing today. So it's two-level cabana structures, elevated pools, and then water entertainment features. Sporadically put throughout the property. So again, Morris Lapidus, when he thought about the vision of this property, really water entertainment, water features, things that are fun, exciting, things that people want to come to was at the heart of his vision. For example, at one point we had a cat pool, which you can see up in the top right, which is actually a Slim Aaron's picture. And because of these elements, it just became the iconic property that it is today and was featured in movies and has continued to be as it's evolved over time. In the 1970s, the rear yard went through its first renovation. So tennis courts and kids' pools were added at this point in time, which you can kind of catch a glimpse of in the bottom left. And then in the 1980s, as times were really changing, the property needed a full reposition in the backyard. So this was the first kind of full structural demolition and reconstruction of our pool yard that had happened since its original 1954 completion. Most of you are, may or may not be familiar with this or have visited it back in the 1980s. So some of the program elements that were added at this time included waterfalls, grottos, loungers. So again, very exciting, kind of unique experiences that kept people coming to the property. In the 1990s, more additions, amenity additions for our guests were added to the pool deck, including kids' water areas and a lazy river that went around the entire property. And then in 2000s, the next rendition, the next evolution of the backyard happened. And this is what it is today, right? So the 1980s version of the pool deck was fully demolished, and the new pools that exist today, which kind of focus around what we call a bow tie pool, was constructed. This is important just because this property, in order to maintain its position as a best-in-class, world-class resort, there's just a long precedent of repositions and redesigns and reconstructions and new amenities on our backyard, which honestly has kept this property special and successful over the years. So as we think about the next, well, just to quickly show you what's on the pool deck, it's really focused on today, the pools, cabanas, loungers, and then adult entertainment. So as folks know, today there's music that goes on in the backyard, lots of activity during the day. But as we think about the next 50 years of Miami Beach and what the next evolution of this property looks like, what we're really interested in is repositioning the entire property as family friendly and a family destination, both for local Miami Beach residents and then also people all over the world, right? So we'll talk a little bit about the architectural elements that we're going to be adding. But this is the rear yard is really kind of the first phase of what we want to do across the entire property, and what we think is, some of the most exciting things that we can do back here. So to go through the specifics here, in terms of the kits of parts, the elements that we're adding to the pool deck to be able to create this family-friendly, kid-friendly environment, it's really three things that we're doing. We're adding cabanas, which you see on the top left, which was, again, inspired by the 1954 version of the Fontainebleau, architecturally and from a scale perspective. We like to add food and beverage throughout the environment. And then on the right side, the third element that we want to add is kid-friendly, teen-friendly water features and water experiences, right? We think that's very important. And by doing that—
I can't hear it.
Yep, excuse me? Okay. And by doing that, it creates an environment that's exciting, that families can stay at for an entire week, a long weekend, and just reinvigorates the property into what we think the future of Miami Beach is all about. Just to kind of level set on how, what we have today and then the scale of the project that we're proposing, because there's been some conflicting information out there. So today, just so the group knows, we have roughly 1,600 keys across the hotel. In the backyard today, we have 32 cabanas, we have 1,000 loungers, and we have 40 orbitals, which are the kind of round beds that service the roughly 1,600 rooms. So outside of, thinking about this property in the future and positioning it as family friendly, part of this reinvention is also just to service our rooms that are currently there, because we have a hard time doing it. There's not enough places for people to sit. So in the proposed version of what we're showing you in the renders, and we'll go through in detail, we'd like to add 37 cabanas, around 400 loungers, and then 13 orbitals to this project. So we'll still be under service, but we'll be doing, just a little bit better. And just to give everybody a sense of scale of what we're proposing here. And then, unlike some of the reinventions that's happened in the past, which include a full kind of demolition of the backyard and reinvention of it, what we're proposing to do here is intervene in specific ways and keep the logic of the backyard, but essentially add these elements such that it's not a multi-year construction, but still has the impact of being family friendly and feels like a reinvented place. So some of the images of what that looks like, again, it's immersive, it's exciting, and it's meant to be family friendly for all ages, teens, tweens, kids, and then adults. Again, some of the images of what the new rendition of this looks like. So before we get into the architectural changes that we made coming out of the HPB meeting, we wanted to go through just some clarifications to make it super clear how this property is going to operate with these new amenities for our hotel guests. So first and foremost, and I just want to make this really clear, the pool deck amenities that we're adding are specifically for the guests of the hotel, right? So this is not a general public water park. It's not a water park destination. It's not a water park use. The only way that you can actually use the slides or the cabanas is to be a guest of the hotel. And I just want to make that super clear. Currently, our pool deck is restricted entry,
Anthony,
right?
could you go back? Anthony, could you go back to that clarification? Just so
Sure.
they understand. So you are a guest of the hotel, though, if you buy a day pass. Is that correct? Just like you
Yes.
are at any of the other hotels.
Yes, but the day passes are only for the orbitals and the cabanas. Assuming that the hotel guests that are actually staying at the hotel are not using the only handful that we have, those would be for sale. So we would fill those up.
And when you're at uh, throughout the year, when you showed the numbers, so that just to make sure we understand this clarification,
Mm-hmm.
when are you at capacity throughout the year? How often is the Fontainebleau at capacity with 1,000+ rooms?
You're talking about a number of nights a year that we're at 100% occupancy?
Mm-hmm.
I would have to get that information from the hotel specifically. I don't have that data off the top of my head, like how many nights a year we have full occupancy. But I'm happy to get in touch with them and then provide that information after
Well, just
this.
to give us a better sense, if you're not at full occupancy, whatever you're not at, you can sell your day passes for, correct? So you're never increasing beyond what you can physically have at a property. But if the
Sure.
property is not at capacity, you can sell your day passes up to that amount, correct? Like you can have that amount of people there, and each cabana is more than one person.
I can clarify a little bit. So out of the 1,593 rooms that we have, and will continue to be that way in the future, if say out of the cabanas that will be available, hopefully it's 69. You see on the right side the totals that are proposed in the render. Say there are 3 or 4 open, right? Because there's just so few cabanas for all of the rooms that we have. We would through day pass sell, those 1 or 2 or 3 that are open. But the reality is we don't have hundreds of cabanas and we have 1,600 rooms. So there's just very high demand for the very few orbitals and cabanas that we do have. But why don't
Certainly. I just want to make sure though that okay, so let's go back to that point just so that we understand, because right there it says in red.
Mm-hmm.
Next slide.
Okay.
To clear. Next slide.
Yep.
There. So not a general public water park, it's a destination or use. It is a destination though. You can make it a destination by buying a day pass. You can come. I mean, the cabanas.
No, yeah. So I can clarify
Yeah,
this.
go ahead. Thank you.
So a one-off water park use, right? So people that will go to a water park that stands on its own, right? And and that's what everybody's thinking about, right? Where you buy a pass and you go to the slides, you use the slides, and then you leave for the day. That is not the intent of what we're doing, nor is it how it'll actually operate in the future. So if you're a guest of the hotel, you're staying in our rooms, you're on our rear yard, you can use the pools, you can go to the ice cream shops, you can get churros, and you can use the slides. But we are not going to have lines out the door of people specifically coming just to use the slides. This is not a destination water park use, nor is it a general public use where you can walk in off the beach or you can walk in the front door. Everything is restricted to guests of our hotel.
But you can become a guest by purchasing the pass. And so if you have the infrastructure, let's say you build exactly what you've shown us today, and you have the infrastructure, it's already there. No one's in the business of telling the Fontainebleau how to operate your property. Once it's built, once this has been approved to be built, you can have up to a certain amount of people by code. How you operate that and how you sell that, and if you operate it the same way you operate the Turnberry or any of the other, then you do or you don't. But you can that's why I asked earlier, how many are you? When do you really have full occupancy at the Fontainebleau? Because we feel it as a community when you have even close to that or an event or something there. If this is at full occupancy, And the question in the
Mhm.
chat was, will they be able to use the slides and the other amenities? They will be able to use, once they buy that pass, they will be able to use everything on the pool deck, correct?
No, the answer is no. So if we're at full capacity, no, we can't have people. And it's not a because it's not a water park use and that's not a legal use here, right? It's not a permitted use. We would not operate it as such.
But
So
you're not at full
these are
capacity.
similar to, similar to the features that existed in the 50s and then in the 80s. These are new, exciting amenities just for our hotel guests and their families that are staying there, similar to our beach, similar to, anything else that's on our pool deck.
So instead of not a general public water park, it is
Mhm.
a private water park. Is that what we're saying? Is that you have to be a member, you have to purchase that pass or be staying at the hotel to be able to stay there?
No, it's a pool deck with diversified experiences for our guests of the hotel. That's what it is. It's not a one-off water park. It's not a permitted use here. These are accessory uses, amenities for our hotel guests. It just happens that they're large and, that's exciting because we think about the Fontainebleau as this iconic property and it, each time it reinvents itself, it becomes that once again for the next 10 to 15 years. So we think doing something that's world class is important here. So we can understand how it looks like a water park destination where you buy a ticket to the slides and then you show up and you stand out the door and you go down the slides and then you leave for the day, but that's not how this will operate.
Right, you'll be more engaged in the property. Commissioner Tanya Bott?
Yeah, I just wanted to, I'm missing something here too. So if somebody buys a day pass to use the pool deck amenities, right, which is the thing that you're selling, is that correct?
No, you would have to, the day passes, you can only purchase an orbital or a cabana,
And
right?
so
So if
how are
those
you
are
going
not
to,
available or
how,
they're,
and how are you going to enforce that? If somebody purchases a day pass for a cabana and they're like, oh, that slide looks amazing, I'm going to go down it, then what happens? Like once people are on the property, how are you going to enforce that?
well, so to be able to get into the rear yard, and this exists today, right? Like most of the other properties in Miami Beach as well, you have to check in and be escorted to your orbital or to your cabana. And then once you're at your cabana, you have the ability to use the pools, the bathrooms, water fountains, and any other amenities that are on the deck. That's the same concept here. That's the way it would operate. It just so happens that our kind of accessory structures are beyond just pools, we have other things for our guests to do. But
Right.
you would not be able to buy a day pass and just not have an orbital or not have a cabana and just
No, I understand
loiter
that.
around. Yeah.
But you buy a day pass for an orbital or a cabana, which then also permits you to use, in addition to the bathrooms and the pool, it also permits you to use the water slide.
Yes,
So,
and the
so
bars
people,
and the everything
right,
that's on our pool deck. Yes.
right. So it's not that people would be buying a pass exclusively for the water slide, but on the days that you're not at full capacity, which I would imagine are, a lot. We have a lot of hotel rooms here, and great weather most of the year. That delta between the number of cabanas or orbitals would then be used up by people who are day trippers to use the slide, and the cost for using the slide is paying for a day pass. It gets them the orbital or the
Yeah.
or the
So
thing. So I think that's the concern that I have for sure, and I've heard from other residents that
yeah.
no, it's not people like buying a Six Adventures water park pass. We get that,
No,
but
yeah, yeah.
but it is also not just for hotel guests who are staying for 3 days. And I think that's what has many of us quite concerned.
Sure. So just to address some of that. So remember, we have 1,600 rooms, but rarely are those rooms occupied by one person. So on any given day, we have, 2,000 to 3,000 people that are across this property. And again, for cabanas, we're proposing that there would be 69 in total for those thousands of people. And for our orbitals, 53 for those thousands of people. So it just like today, it's going to be very rare that an orbital is open or a cabana is open. And then in the instance that they are, it's going to be a very small number just because we are servicing so many guests, and we need these cabanas and these orbitals for our guests because there's so much demand. Today, I mean, they're generally fully booked, and there's, we just don't have cabanas and orbitals to be able to give people that are staying at our hotel. So I just want to emphasize that it's just going to be limited amount of day passes, if any, throughout the year for these orbitals
So
or for these
you
cabanas.
guys have clearly done many projections to get to this point, I'm quite sure. And I'd be curious, and if you don't have them at this presentation because you didn't anticipate this, but I'd be really curious to know what percentage of incremental sales you anticipate in getting because of the new structure. And
Yeah,
how,
sure.
because like I said, I think that is a significant cause for concern. And if the consensus is, well, we're not going to generate more specific sales, of day passes for people coming in for this, but we will get people coming to the hotel property for the first time or for the first time in a while because we do something new. That's a different conversation. But I think sharing those data points with the community will help alleviate, hopefully, it will demonstrate the point you're trying to make, help alleviate some very serious concerns about, day trippers, college kids coming down from Fort Lauderdale and thinking it's a great place to, sip drinks by the pool and do belly flops down a water slide, which
Sure. Yeah, that's completely reasonable. And just to give you guys a sense of like the intent here. So it's not the really kind of like adding 5 cabanas and then the incremental sales on those 5 cabanas. What we think is going to happen by elevating making our entire rear yard, inclusive of adding cabanas and orbitals, right? But just making it much more sophisticated, much more of 2025 than of, 2008, 2005. It's going to raise our nightly rates across the entire hotel. And it's also just going to raise the amount of people that want to come to the Fontainebleau for the next 20 to 30 years. And that's really important for us. We do have a very large historic structure on the site, which is very expensive to upkeep. So we need to, constantly reinvent ourselves to be able to make money to put back into the Chateau building. To give you a sense, we just renovated the entire Versailles building. We just finished that construction literally 2 months ago, 3 months ago, which is a 1959 building. But it's impossible to do, and it's beautiful inside, by the way, now. But it's impossible to do that if you don't have a property that's performing. And with all the hotels that are being built in Miami Beach, the competitive properties, similar to what we want to do here, but in the Caribbean or in, Texas, families are kind of flying to literally different countries to be able to spend the full week with their family and just not leave the property, right? If it's just, it's going to be difficult for us to upkeep that building and the entire property if we can't continue to be competitive. Just hopefully that made sense.
It did make sense, and we appreciate the additional clarification. And thank you so much for investing in those historic properties or buildings. Can you explain how these amenities, a water park, would do justice to a landmark or to this historic property? How is it not distracting from what the architect had originally designed? You had mentioned there was some water features that were originally designed that were fun, but they were also very much to scale with the rest of the property, and it didn't deter or distract. It's not polluting the vision of a historic building or of the landmark or of the layout or of the views towards the beach. Everyone who enjoys your property is able to see the beach and the kitty cat from their rooms. There is the kitty cat's nose doesn't block anyone's views or allows you to enjoy that historic the essence that the architect had envisioned and designed for this property. So how do you see this new direction honoring this historic landmark here in our community?
Yeah, sure. So I have actually a few slides later on that show exactly why it's kind of located where it is. So I'll flip over to that. But just to address your first point, I mean, the Morris Lapidus, the vision for the Fontainebleau, just a part of the DNA was water features, water entertainment, things that were unique, large scale, different than what people have experienced before. I mean, look at the cabanas that were built, on day one, right? It just, that was part of his vision for this property, is that it just was a very exciting property. And That's why people, starting in the 50s came to this property. And then in the 1980s, why they kept coming, why it was featured in all sorts of movies like Scarface is the place to go. I mean, these kind of large scale, outsized elements like the cat pool, it's been foundational to the Fontainebleau's DNA since day one. So, but let me flip it forward and get to kind of the map of why we're locating the slides where we are, and I think it'll make a little bit more sense.
Thank you.
Sorry to kind of jump around here, but this is
And when you
this
have
is
a
good
moment,
discourse.
if you could also, when you have a moment, just share with us the cost of this project that as proposed today.
Sure.
Do you share that at all, or how this is? Somebody had asked that.
I don't know if we're sharing that at the moment, but it's
Okay.
going to be in the hundreds of millions.
Okay.
So that's that. And by the way, I mean, just taking a step back, right? So, in thinking about a family-friendly transformation, there's no other property in Miami Beach that has the scale, the space, or, an owner with a vision to be able to kind of execute something like this. Our owner has invested in this property hundreds of millions of dollars, 2005, 2008, to keep this thing as sophisticated and as high end as possible. So that's kind of, that's how we operate here, and that's how we would execute this project is very high end, very sophisticated, high end finishes and experiences for everybody. So just as a little background. And I think that's important too, in terms of spring breakers that come to Miami Beach, we want to move away from that, move away from kind of the party scene. So we think by creating not only high-end finishes, but also family-friendly, attractions, it's going to create an ecosystem for really great people to be staying here at the Fontainebleau going forward.
Can I ask you a question? In your slides, I don't know if you
Sure.
haven't gotten there yet, but do you have one? Because we are yet to see one from the beach walk looking into the property directly at this massive
Yeah, sure.
108-foot slide. We have seen them from the distance, but not from the beach walk. Do you have that we can see?
I do. I have a bunch of views. So let me flip through kind of the few slides that I have here, and then we've got a bunch of views from the beach walk, from the beach, from the dune, from all angles. So it'll give everybody a sense of scale of how this impacts the historic, building on our property. So I'll just again, thanks for the comments, everybody. This is great to kind of chat it out with you. But just to quickly fly through this, so we talked about this, but we believe that there's historic precedent for a reinvention like this. Likewise, water features just being fun and exciting in our rear yard. And we'll talk a little bit about this, but the water slides themselves are located in what we consider the new construction zone on this property. So it's directly adjacent to 2008 and 2005 construction, away from the historic building. And then again, these elements that we want to interweave in are permitted accessory uses, right? So that's why we're not going through planning or to commission, because we're not doing a use change here. This is not a water park destination use. So thus the HPB is the one that oversees this, which we have a meeting on the 13th.
Yes, we're very aware of that meeting.
Yeah. Yes. So just to talk about sound, because I know folks are concerned. The reality is, yes, if there's families and there's kids here, there is going to be sound. But from our perspective, kids and families should be welcomed in Miami Beach, and having families and places for families to go is, part of having a healthy urban ecosystem, right? So right now we are more adult oriented, and we do want to diversify away from that. Again, in a high-end sophisticated way. That being said, our property is so large, so it's the longest amount of frontage on Miami Beach in the whole city. It's the equivalent of 3 football fields long. So just by virtue of it being so large, some of that sound mitigation will happen. And it's our intent, if it's families kind of staying here and enjoying here, people are not going to be up late night. So that sound would kind of hopefully mitigate into the evening as well. Traffic generation. I know this is
I apologize.
Yeah.
Was that, did that conclude your sound?
Yes, That's what, yes, that's what we want to say, that there will be sound from kids, but we believe
What
that
about from
families and kids
music?
are welcome to Miami Beach.
Right.
There should be at least.
Have you considered the loud music that you will be playing, like they play in Carnival Cruise Lines and other water parks in the
Well,
country?
yeah, it's a good point. So we do have Arcadia pool today, which is a daytime beach club for adults, and part of doing what we're proposing here is to get rid of that. So we don't want to have adults popping bottles, partying, loud music, rap music. Again, with a family-focused reposition, the intent is for all that to go away, first and foremost outside on our pool deck, and then later down the line throughout the entire property.
Our police department has a hard time monitoring e-bikes on the beach walk. How are they going to be monitoring when the music is loud, when it's not, when the kids are screaming, when there's a teenagers up and down those slides, making excessive noise that impacts all residents, all beach walk users? Who would be monitoring that insanity?
Well, hopefully it won't be insanity. As it relates to people on the public beach walk, I'm not sure that we would monitor that or police that. Um, but kids playing and families playing, there is noise from that, and we're okay with that on our property.
Hmm.
Again, it's 3 football fields, so it's very long. So most of the sound will be contained within what you kind of see is that half horseshoe right there, and especially without loud music.
Yeah.
You won't hear bass, you won't hear techno music.
Oh, really?
Again, this is going to be, and
And
this.
mechanical noise?
No,
Pumps?
so the new I could talk a little bit about like the mechanical systems for the water slides, but the new technology that they have. So we're placing all the mechanical systems adjacent to the current mechanical systems that exist for this property, which is in one of our parking garages, right? And the new engineering systems and the manufacturers that create this kind of equipment these days, it's so high end that it's actually it's not loud. This is the same type of equipment that they do in the Bahamas. Maybe back in the 80s and the 90s, elements like this that were built were very loud and dripped water. These days, the engineering is so good that that actually does not take place. And for us, it's important that this is a very high-end experience. So it's our intent to create a best-in-class ecosystem here that is not loud, is not dripping water, is safe on the environment, and is not going to, tip over in a hurricane.
So
And
runoff,
that's safety is first and foremost for us.
certainly, and runoff and stormwater and all of that is also very important. But here specifically
Exactly.
for the noise, something I didn't see that I was hoping to see in your slides. So when neighboring buildings 4 blocks down can sit on their balcony and hear your concerts or hear the activity at the Fontainebleau, it's hard to believe that additional structures where there'll be more reflection, more water, where it will carry whenever there's certain winds, humidity, temperature, all of those aspects impact noise. The amount
Uh-huh.
of water surface that it's not only going to elevate to those that are staying in your property in the higher floors, but it's also going to spread beyond that. And so not seeing any of that was, I mean, I guess because you're going to historic preservation and it's not a quality of life, which is also impressive that this isn't going to quality of life committee or commission, but it is something that it will have an impact on the community, and to downplay those aspects is concerning. It
Yeah,
would be good. I'd like to
and I
hear
don't,
the technology and how the water pumps, but possibly the storm water, et cetera, is important.
yeah, and we hope that the movement away from late night partying and spring breakers and more towards families is just going to have a positive impact, right? So on the entire neighborhood, less rap music, less drunk people, less spring breakers, etc. That's our intent
Spring
here.
breakers sleep in. Nobody who lives on the coast wants to hear screaming kids at 9 a.m.
Right. All right. Well,
But
listen, I'm
go
happy
ahead.
to provide more technical information after this. We can show you where the mechanical spaces are, like the decibels that come off of that. And I think you'll be
It's the
pretty
usage.
impressed
I
as to
think
how
it's
good the
usage.
engineering is.
It's
Mhm.
usage, it's winds, it's humidity, it's in the different scenarios, how
Sure.
that sound will carry. There, Commissioner Samuelin had passed a noise ordinance, and in Collins Avenue, they've been trying to enforce a car passing by or any kind of increase in noise along Collins because of our condo canyon and also the way the noise travels along the water, the bodies of water, and how it penetrates into the condominiums or into the buildings. So to think that there's a noise ordinance and that we've done so much work locally to try to mitigate the noise, and to think that the additional structures reflective that can reflect this, that are water based, or aren't going to increase the decibels is hard to believe.
No.
Okay,
Do
I hear you.
you
So
have a
let
lot
me,
more
so let me,
slides
let me
so that
go
we can
through.
start Q&A?
If you don't mind, let me go through the rest of I think some of the additional slides will clarify some of this and also provide, address some of these concerns. So I just want to talk about traffic quickly, right? So again, just to reemphasize, these amenities are just for the guests of the hotel, right? So we are not going to have new traffic trips of people driving for the day to go to the water slides, and they buy a pass and you just go to the water slides and you walk around and then you leave, right? So this is primarily for the guests of the hotel, and intrinsically, because we're not adding more hotel rooms, our occupancy more or less stays the same, and thus, does not generate traffic, which I know has been a major concern.
Can we stay on this just a second?
Sure.
So if you're not at capacity every day, then anything that makes you at capacity any day generates traffic. It's going to generate congestion. You have a concert and it's blocked. Not only that, you pay for overtime police to block the lanes on a FDOT highway. So we have one lane to get through, and it's our only road. We have no other way to get home. We either go one way through Collins or have to go all the way around for a couple of extra miles to get back home. So if you're going to do something that will increase the amount of individuals that are at Fontainebleau on a regular basis, then you will have new traffic. And to not say there's no new traffic, then why would you do your project?
Yeah, so it's the point of doing this is to increase the daily rates for the hotel that's currently there, right? So the property itself is designed and is operating by code according to how many rooms are there, right? So whether we have two orbitals that are open or three cabanas that are open, and we fill with a day pass, the entire property is designed from an occupancy standpoint to be able to handle that in the first place, right? So
you do not generate traffic beyond your capacity, rather than you do not generate new traffic. You will generate new traffic and trips. That's the whole purpose, is to generate new traffic and trips. But you're not going to generate traffic and trips beyond what you're allowed or expected to generate. Is that what you're saying?
no, I'm saying that see, how do I say this? So the property is what it is today. It has the amount of trips that go there based on people that are staying in our rooms. And that would not change with what we're doing here because it's not a destination water park. These are amenities for those
you're
rooms.
promoting that you're going to have more jobs. We have 30,000 workers that come into our beach every single day to work here. And Fontainebleau is one of the largest employers of those employees. You're saying this is going to bring hundreds of new jobs to the beach. Just those alone would be new traffic. There's no way you can say that this project is not bringing new traffic if it's not additional or beyond your capacity, or is not employee, or however you want to phrase that. But to say it's not new traffic seems a little misleading.
Right. I just want to clarify that this is not a destination water park. So I think most people in their minds have like a Six Flags in their mind, right? Where you just have lines of people, it's overcrowded, it's packed. People come in for an hour, they use slides and then they leave, and it's just absolute chaos. This is going to be the opposite of that. This is for our hotel guests. Similar to putting extra pools. It's just more features for those guests to be able to enjoy. And the entire master plan of the property is designed from a safety, fire, ingress, egress perspective. It's designed to handle a maximum capacity in all of the buildings. And that would that would not change the maximum capacity.
Six Flags in Minnesota or Wisconsin or anywhere else, they're large. So Six Flags to us, you think large. And when we think Miami Beach, coastal, small strip between two bodies of water of Indian Creek and the beach, we don't think large. And so what you're building or what you're proposing is massive. And I think that's where the Six Flag concept comes from. It's not only going to have thousands of people there, it's the size of it. Commissioner Bott?
Well, one last thing to that point, and thank you for saying that. We actually hope that when we get away from nightlife, right, and daytime parties in our Arcadia pool, which have a higher density of people than a typical kind of lounging experience, it's our hope that it actually reduces the density quite a bit just by changing the group of people that will be here on a weekly and weekend basis. So currently we have a lot of traffic and a lot of overcrowding based on the spring breaker effect. We, again, holistically want to get away from that at this property and think about the next 50 years at Miami Beach, which we believe is family friendly. And we just think it's going to be less densely populated, to be honest with you, for parties, which drives a lot of traffic, as we know, throughout all of Miami Beach and South Beach.
Commissioner Bott?
Yeah, so just a quick couple of comments and a question. I applaud the idea of moving to more family-friendly entertainment and amenities. I think that is, I understand that. I would say, we're not like Texas and we're not like the Caribbean because there is a lot to do in Miami Beach for families. So I would hope that people do actually leave the property and go visit some of the really other wonderful parks and restaurants and outdoor amenities that we have here on Miami Beach for kids and adults. But I do understand the desire to get away from the party to drop mentality. So to that end, I know, one of the concerns is the height and the sort of density of the water slides themselves. If you're talking about family friendly, like I'm thinking 10-year-old boys and 10-year-old boys and girls loving the water slide and, younger kids, do they need to be so tall to provide the appeal that you say you're going after? I mean, if they're
It's a great question. Great
you know,
question.
if they're super tall, then the little kids can't ride on them, and it attracts the daredevil, high school and college kids, and that's edging away from this notion of super family friendly, low key kind of stuff.
Yeah, I love that question. Let me talk about that because I think it's important. It's a very good question. So it's our
I'm sorry,
intent.
can you move from this slide because it's misleading? Like, can you go to another slide? Can you go to the next one, please?
Okay.
Thanks.
Sure. Yeah, so it's our intent to provide experiences for family members of all ages, right? So that would be small children, toddlers, which we have a kids area with its own version of slides and water features like dump buckets and a very not deep pool that parents can bring their kids into, right? So that captures kind of the smallest of the kiddos out there. But important for families, like I come from a big family, right? So I come from a family of six. I was the oldest of four siblings. My youngest sibling, while he was kind of, in a small pool, splish and splashing, my brothers and I would like to go on things that were more adventurous, right? So that's what the bigger slides are designed for, such that older siblings, teens, and really anybody over 48 inches for the lower of the slides could be able to access that and still have a great time through the day. So it addresses everybody. Likewise, for the older teens, we think it'd be great for parents that are more adventurous to be able to enjoy some of these experiences with their teens, right? And Turnberry Isle, which we own and operate, which is very different to this, but we do have slides there as well. We find that parents love to go down some of the larger slides with their teens, and it keeps them coming back to the property. And it's just been a huge economic generator, not only for Aventura, but also the property that it sits adjacent to. So that's the taller slides would be for the older ages. The middle slides would be for anybody over 48 inches, which is typical in some of these destination resorts that are all inclusive like this. And then we have a whole zone for the smallest kids. So the idea is that parents could take as opposed to flying to the Bahamas to go to Baja Mar for the weekend, they could just stay in Miami Beach, spend 4 days here. There's something for everybody to do. It's safe, it's high end, it's
Sir,
clean.
with all due respect, can you continue with the slides? I mean, saying that adults want to go on slides with teenagers is absurd. We all know what teenagers are like. I think we've all had teenagers, and they like to get in groups and have parties and make loud noise and yell and scream. And I don't think they enjoy having their parents on the slides with them. This is yes, it's a money-making machine for all of you in exchange for the quality of the lives of the residents of Miami Beach. And that includes all residents of Miami Beach because we have to enter through 3 bridges. That's it. So every single member of Miami Beach will be impacted by for a number of reasons, and noise and traffic just being 2 of them. And then we can deal with environmental issues that are affected. We can talk about so many other things that, of course, you'll hear about on the 13th. But for now, can you please show pictures as you stated you would be showing?
Yeah, sure. Happy to jump through. So I will go through these, and then maybe we just do the questions at the end so we can kind of
Yes.
do the
A
rest of
lot
the
of people are posting questions and making statements. We had 100 on. We've had to reject a lot of people because we're at
Sure.
capacity at 100. But for the commissioners and the mayor that are on this chat, please make note of all the comments that are being posted
Sure.
on the Zoom chat. And I'm hoping that your staff at the Fontainebleau is also reading our serious concerns because we are united. We are angry. We are going to fight this. And we need you to know
Okay.
that. We appreciate that you're here, but this is not the place to have a water park of 108 feet tall, encroaching our coastal lines, affecting the turtles, affecting the environment, affecting noise, affecting the quality of our lives. This is completely, completely wrong. It does not belong here. Morris Lapidus would be turning in his grave because the way this building was built was not for this massive commercial water park just so that you guys can make more money. It's going to take you many years to get back your $1 billion investment, right? So in exchange for making it back, you're doing this to all of us that are proud to live here and that live with traffic and that live with annoying noise and all the things that have been said. I know you're hired to speak and say what you've spoken, and we appreciate you being on here and being brave enough to be on here with 100 people, and it could be 500 if the Zoom allowed more. But this is unthinkable. There is no
Yeah.
other way to express it.
Okay.
Unthinkable.
Okay. Hear you and appreciate that. And sorry if I'm speaking too much. I'm just trying to address the questions and comments that are coming in real time. But let me jump through. I've got a few slides here, and we could take a look at the images from the beach as well.
So based
So
on what you heard
so we
from, sorry, Anthony, one more. So based on what you heard from the Historic Preservation Board, you all have made four major changes. What you feel are major changes: the elimination of the eastern cabana, 30% of the main cabana height, 20% of the water slide height. You eliminated the elevator, but the shaft is still there. But now it actually is somewhat transparent, which I think was an original intent, and 30% reduction in the mass of the largest slide, and eliminated 3 variance requests. So you're down from 11 to 8 variances, but still requesting 8 variances. Is that correct?
It is, and the majority of those variances actually have to do with existing conditions on the site. For example, how wide our existing walkways are, since we have a lot of people at the Fontainebleau. Technically, for example, one of the variances, you're not supposed to have walkways that are wider than 6 foot. We have some that are wider than that to be able to service our folks and keep it safe, so that that it's everything that's happening at the Fontainebleau has to be codified as a variance. So, and I'm happy to go through detail, but let me jump through. Let me get through like some of the images here to everybody's point. So I know everybody's got busy schedules, so to not keep everybody here all night. So yes, we made major changes programmatically, architecturally, and in scale in reaction to kind of feedback that we've been getting. So we are trying to integrate everything that we're hearing in terms of feedback while not losing kind of the spirit of this project, right? So First, we eliminated an entire cabana structure, one of 3 cabana structures that we were proposing. So on the left is what it was before, and on the right is what it is now. So that's just existing conditions. It would just stay that way. The main cabana, initially when we went into HBB, had a number of programming elements put into it. So retail being one of them. We got rid of all that and minimized the entire structure itself to be smaller. So this is what it was before. And this is what it is now. So it's a simple cabana structure with loungers and extra areas for people to kind of lounge out. The slide tower, most specifically, we took a bunch of steps to try to minimize this from a visual perspective, scale perspective, and architecturally. First and foremost, we reduced the height by 20%. So to the top of it, it's under 100 foot now, and we'll show what that looks like in situ. Likewise, we eliminated the convenience elevator, which we thought would be kind of a nice experience for our goers, but we eliminated that, eliminated cladding, and eliminated 3 floors out of it to create a more transparent structure. And then likewise, the largest slide, we reduced it in size by 30%. So the mass of slides now has been considerably reduced and set back to the north, which we'll take a look at. In terms of its location, I know we were talking a little bit about this. So the historic structure, the Chateau building is designated on the top, and where the star is where the slide tower has been currently located. We did this specifically to locate it next to the 2008 and 2005 construction. So those are the skyscrapers that are on site. And again, as far away from the historic component of this property as we possibly could, such that when you are walking by the Fontainebleau, your direct views to the historic structure are not impacted. Likewise, the tower itself, the staircase sits on new construction. So the entire rear yard was renovated, obviously, in 2008. And likewise, there's an addition that was built in 2008 to the Chateau building. So again, it's kind of very deep and as far away from the historic component as possible. And that's logically why we thought it made sense to put it there to the south. This is what it was before in terms of the height, right? So the tower itself was 131 foot. Note that we do have, you can't really see the tresor height, but the tresor height is 420 some feet tall. And then Sorrento is 227 foot. It was 131. And then we took this down to 99 and then set back the slides themselves to the north. And we'll show you what that kind of looks like. So this is what it was before. And hopefully you can see the full bleed screen here. And this is what it is now. So substantially smaller.
I don't see any difference. How
So the
many?
building, so 43%, like over 40% of that tower that you have on your property will now be blocked by the slides and
Say that one more time, please.
about 40% of your current tower of the Sorrento will be blocked then, correct?
No. Much less than that. It's the podium of the Sorrento Tower, which in elevation we own roughly 50% of. It's all commercial space and mechanical and parking space. That goes up to just over 50 foot. And then it would be 5 stories above that, which is what is mainly impacted by the staircase tower itself. And then the slides drop very quickly, such that on the east side, it's just above the podium in terms of height.
Do you have the picture from the beach walk, please?
Yep. I'm glad you asked.
And from the south.
Okay. So we heard the requests and we thought this was a really helpful exercise. So thank you everybody for bringing it up, including kind of staff in the HBB. So we have a number of before and afters. These images were taken 3 weeks ago. And it shows where the historic structure is in relation to these slides and the slide tower specifically. So this is coming on the beach walk from the north, walking south. This is what it is today. And then this is what it would look like with the slide tower after. It's a little hard to see because it's blocked by the fauna, but there it is in the middle. Moving down the beach walk, historic structure on the right, before and after. from the beach, looking south, southwest, the Chateau building before, this is what it is today, and this is what it is after. You can see some of the slides beyond the canopies. This is what it is today. This is what it would be with the slides in. Looking directly at the Sorrento Tower, which is the southernmost tower, adjacent to the Birmingham on the beach. This is what it is today with the historic structure, roughly 1,000 feet off to the right. And this is what it would be tomorrow. Please note that as a part of our plan, we are proposing dense planting. So this view would actually be slightly more blocked than what's showing with the existing fauna today. And the beach, after, again, dense planting planted along that property line. This is what it looks like from the Soho House entry. You can't really see it. You can't see our property behind
A picture from the beach walk looking directly west to the slides, please.
Yes, getting there. Walking from Soho House going north. This is what it would be with the slides. Again, we are planning for dense planting along that property line, so it would be more visually enclosed.
But you can't really plant very dense there.
Room.
Because you would
right there.
encroach
Can
on
you
the
put it
beach
there?
walk. How would you do that?
Within our property line. We want a jungle effect underneath these slides, so it's highly planted with berming and tall trees, and so that would exist along that gate on the inside of it. Thus, your view would be highly kind of blocked to the actual water slides themselves. And this is what it is today. Again, historic.
But it's 100. I'm sorry, it's 100 feet. No, it's 100 feet.
108.
No. So the slide tower in like where you actually walk up the stairs is 100 foot, but those slides, they drop very quickly such that when they come, and I'll show you, when they come to this location, it's actually just around 50 foot and then it drops quickly from there. So this is what you would see from the beach walk. And then again, once we add in kind of the berming and the planting and the jungle effect that we want to do within our property line, it's going to be pretty, and I'll kind of annotate what that's going to look like. It's, it'd be like this, right? As a pedestrian, your view is it's gonna block a lot.
How many feet from the fence to the edge of to that post that's there, that gray tall post?
I don't know exactly offhand. I want to say it's probably 15 to 17 feet.
15 feet. It's right next to the, you're exceeding the CCCL line, right? Completely.
Well,
protection for us for hurricanes.
So the construction coastal line is a line that's set by the state, and it's inset far into the property. We actually have multiple, like Sorrento, half of Sorrento is beyond the CCL line, and the local ordinances as it relates to dune overlay and ocean overlay. That's kind of what we operate with here in Miami Beach, and that's driving some of our variances. So. But the CCL line we're in compliance with.
No, you're not. You're saying you're already not in compliance with it, is what you're saying. You're already not in compliance with it. So
we're in compliance with the CCL line.
You're saying that you're already beyond it. No, I'm sorry, maybe I didn't understand that. Anthony, could you say that for me again? You're saying you're already beyond the CCL, and so the impacts that any structure has that I didn't follow that.
Yeah, most properties in Miami Beach have large elements beyond the CCL because it's a state designated line.
Right, but it's a state designated line for what purpose? To help with storm surge, to help with resilience, to help with the erosion of our beaches.
The lineage, the history of it, I would have to be honest with you, speak my land use lawyer, like what the original intent was when that was laid out by FDEP back in the day. So I don't want to misspeak. I'm not.
Oh, I didn't realize it was like a historical. I figured it was something more relevant since we continuously hear it in terms of storm surge and resilience and not building beyond it and respecting our the beach and the erosion line are not getting close to the erosion line, so the CCL protects that space between. And we have the dunes, and the idea is to not build beyond the CCL. So putting more in that area. I just don't, I'm not sure how you all, the comment that you made that you all are in line with the CCL if you're building more beyond it.
Yeah, why don't I get more detailed information? I'm happy to circulate it after this, like the history of it, exactly the code. I don't have the code in front of me. But the CCL line sits, very far westward of the dune and the ocean overlays, and likewise the beach. I'd wager to say that there are hundreds of buildings in Miami Beach that are constructed over pieces of it. But let me get information for you so we can be knowledgeable about it, and I can
You have
send it to
about 1 minute left in your presentation,
Okay.
and then we'll move on. We have some
There we
follow-up
go.
from the awesome. Great job. Thank
I
you
think
so
that was
much.
longer than 10 minutes, but I
Yeah.
really appreciate the.
No, I think the interactive piece was wonderful. Now, I know that Stop Six Flags at Fontainebleau is also here, and they wanted to be able to share some of their perspectives of the presentation and of the project itself. Mark?
Yes. Hello, everyone. I mean, what a disaster this is. I mean, that presentation is an attempt to get you to forget and ignore everything you know about Miami Beach, everything you know about the Fontainebleau. So let me introduce myself first. My name is Mark Weiss. I'm a real estate attorney. I'm a resident in Miami Beach, and I'm also the leader of Stop Six Flags at FB. We've reached over 300,000 people on social media, and we represent the thousands of residents that are just furious. So before I begin, I want to first thank MidBeach, Alicia and Anna Marie, for spending so many hours protecting our Miami Beach, our way of life. I also want to thank Mayor Minor for being on. I'm really looking forward to speaking with you and all of our commissioners. This water park, ladies and gentlemen, is the greatest threat facing Miami Beach here today, and everyone is furious. And they say they made a change from the November 18th meeting. For those of you that weren't there, the Fontainebleau presented this project on November 18th, and they got tarred and feathered in over 2 hours of public comment. There's been no real change because you know what it is? The water park remains. I wanted to find this. They call it an amenity enhancement. They're throwing a lot of different words at us.
I hope it was clear it wasn't a water park, though, right?
It is a water park. Anthony, you presented.
No,
Anthony, do you mind if I go through my presentation?
Of course.
Thank
Go
you.
for it. Yep, of course.
This is a water park. Our eyes work. We can see it. This is an 108-foot concrete tower, hundreds of feet of water slides, open to the public, and I will prove it to you in a second. So over the next 10 minutes, everyone, Mayor, Commissioners, I'm going to tell you how this water park is going to decimate the way of life in Miami Beach. Let's start off with open to the public. Lots of semantics, orbitals only, you get escorted. Fontainebleau sells day passes right now for the pool on Resort Pass. This is from today. I was able to place an order for 90 adults and 90 children. That's a very fertile family that we have over here. For the pool, okay? This water park is open to the public, and they will throw every platitude at you to try to distract you. But you know what? When it's built, respectfully, Anthony and the Fontainebleau team, they're not coming back on this Zoom to get your opinion. They will do what they want. I've been at the Fontainebleau my whole life, and it's a free-for-all. But let's talk about traffic. This is the number one issue that Mayor Minor has been working on and MidBeach focuses on. The traffic on Collins is broken. This is Collins on a regular day. You literally cannot move. It takes an hour to go a block. But Fontainebleau continues to build. They've had a lot of latitude and they've enjoyed it. Since the days that they showed us the 1954 buildings and the cabanas that were inspired, they've built the Tresor, the Sorrento, the Arcadia Pool, the spa, the gym, and most recently a convention center right on Collins. So here's my question. Where in the world is everyone parking for this water park? They compare it, we want to be like Baha Mar. Hello, everyone. Baha Mar sits on 1,000 acres. The Fontainebleau sits on 22 acres. Maybe they want to compare it to Tidal Cove, Jeffrey Sofer's sister's water park up in Aventura, 300 acres with public parking. Has anyone thought about where anyone is going to park here? Every valet in the Fontainebleau is a disaster. I cannot get my car if I try going there. Think about the south entrance. Everyone knows that shares with Soho Beach House. It stacks 2 lanes into Collins. It is a death trap. Okay. And then I want to think about emergency responses. This is a photo taken by one of our members at 2:15, not even rush hour. This is a fire truck responding to a fire. As you can see, the fire truck is driving onto oncoming traffic because there is nowhere to go. There is nowhere to drive. I have a question. How are all the ambulances going to reach this property? Embarrassingly enough, I was at Baha Mar this past year. I dislocated my shoulder and I was carried away in a gurney. It was pathetic with an ambulance. How's an ambulance going to get here? Mayor and Commissioner, you guys have a public safety disaster today. Today, right now, your infrastructure is broken. The fact that we're talking about any improvements, there should be a moratorium on Collins for any development when you have this. For traffic alone, and the fact that you're going to have thousands of new cars coming to Miami Beach every week, cars, ride shares, buses, there's no more space. Number 2, variances. People love to say, it's Fontainebleau's property. They could do what they want. Wrong. Wrong, wrong, wrong. Fontainebleau wants 8 variances to build this water park, including reducing open space by 3- and 4-fold. But there's one variance that is very damaging here. The one variance is they want to build these big water slides, hundreds of feet of water slides, closer to your beach. What does that mean? You are going to have water slides built up against the shoreline. The beach erosion line is your last line of defense in Miami Beach. I spoke with a woman from the Vendome, and she said that in a minor storm, the 10 cars were destroyed from flooding. Okay? Also, turtles. I always have to hear about these turtles mating. These turtles get more action than me. You're telling me that this is not going to hurt the turtles mating, hundreds of feet of winding slides, and a bunch of mechanical pumps? And what precedent does this set for zoning? I just want to explain, a variance means a special exception from the zoning law. This will gut zoning laws. You know what happens next? Eden Rock comes. I want a Ferris wheel. Next, the W comes. I want a casino. You know what? Turn the whole place into Coney Island. Has anyone been to Coney Island? It's trash. And for this reason alone, these variances are a joke and they will never hold up in court. Number 3, noise. I mean, am I supposed to believe that this water park is not going to be loud? Has anyone here have gone to a water park recently? We had one of our members testify on November 18th. He worked at Baha Mar, and the mechanical pumps are so loud that he had to wear earplugs. And I'm supposed to believe that walking on this boardwalk, the technology is so much better. Mayor and commissioners, I'm sure you love the boardwalk like us. And imagine you're walking on the boardwalk and you hear, oh my God, I'd rather rap music. Give me the rap music. And then we show the 3 football fields as if that is going to help Fontainebleau's case. If anything, this is the largest stretch of property in Miami Beach. Did everyone know that? It's the largest piece of oceanfront property. This noise is going to disturb miles. You will see this water park for miles, and you will hear for miles. There's a lot of elderly people at the Vendome, at the Latour, at Mimosa. They want to walk on the boardwalk. Are they not entitled to peace and quiet anymore? Does this whole boardwalk belong? And because of this variance, you are going to be covered in a shade, in a cloud of noise and darkness, because we're allowing them to build closer to the boardwalk, and it's going to be towering over, and those renderings are so misleading. They're covered with trees. That water park is 100 times bigger than what they're showing. And for that reason, for the noise, we can't allow this. But number 4, Mayor Miner, I hope you're on. I first want to applaud you for what you did to get rid of spring break here in Miami Beach. You did a fantastic job of getting rid of spring break. Oh, you're on. You did an amazing job. And by the way, we're all your biggest fans. We're all your voters. We love you. But this water park, Mayor, is a set of roses and a reservation for 2 at Carbone asking to get back together with spring break. Shootings at theme parks. In 2025, Six Flags in Missouri suffered from a shooting. Bay Water Park in Nevada, a man was rushed to the hospital after multiple gunshot wounds. Bay Water Park in Kansas City, a 16-year-old boy, Corey Jones, was shot dead. Hey, the reality is, you could call it whatever you want.
Did you see my social media post today?
No, I didn't. Sorry, I was
I
so
got it out
prepared.
late. Yeah,
I was so busy preparing for this.
No, I understand. I got it out just several hours, but yeah, I think I expressed my concerns. We'll leave it at that.
You expressed, sorry, Mary, you expressed your concerns about this project on social media. I apologize, we missed that.
Oh yeah, check it out.
No way.
Yeah,
Okay, great.
Yep.
Are you opposed to this water park?
That's what I say. Yes.
Okay, great. Well, we're thrilled to have your support, and you've always stood by the residents no matter what. So we thank you, Mayor Minor.
Yes.
We applaud you. And if I may continue, they call this family
and the reason
friendly.
why I wanted to make sure I did all my due diligence before I put something out, and yes, I expressed my concerns. Yep.
Thank you, Mayor Minor. I appreciate it. Anna Marie, is it okay if I continue?
Please do. Thank you, Mark.
All right. They want to call it family friendly. Okay, I have 3 nephews. They're adorable. None of them could ride these slides. Not one can ride these slides. This is for teens and young adults. They're going to come, they're going to get drunk, they're going to congregate in big crowds, they're going to argue, hey, you cut me. There'll be fights, there will be crime. And you know what happens? When they're out of money to buy drinks, they're going to filter onto the boardwalk and come and victimize all of you. Theme parks bring a ratchet crowd. I don't know how to say it better. It's tacky. And lastly, I just want to finish the beauty of Miami Beach, okay? Miami is beautiful. It's like the last nice city in the United States. They make the garages look like apartments. Fontainebleau is a landmark property, a Morris Lapidus masterpiece. You bring in the water park on the largest oceanfront property in Miami Beach, and you know what you get? You are going to change the entire look and feel of the boardwalk. The 3 football fields is emblematic of the importance to maintain their beauty and not to turn it into a Coney Island. And just to touch on the location, I mean, this is so, Anthony, it's so offensive when you show the location of this and you say, we put the water park over here because we care about the history. No, you put the water park here because this is a condo building not owned by the Fontainebleau, meaning these are customers that have given Jeffrey Sofer millions of dollars, and you are turning around and saying, screw you.
No,
Screw, it is. Yes, it is. Yes. Oh, it is. It is. So put it over here. You don't want to put it there because these are your hotel rooms. And this is not good business. Besides for the
in front of the historic
So
building.
Mark, one moment, Anthony, please.
Yeah.
So Mark, we have about 1 minute left. If you
Okay.
can wrap it up, please. Thank you.
I'm going to wrap it up. January 13th is the meeting at the HPB. They are going to vote on this project. If you thought the last meeting had a big uproar, we are going to fill that room every inch. We've tried to advocate. We've tried to get them to change their stance. They are bullishly and brazenly ignoring everyone. Anthony, speaking with the residents doesn't fulfill your job. You have to convince us and bring us on your side. This is a brazen attack on our ways of life. This is a brazen attack on our infrastructure. This is a brazen attack on traffic and a brazen attack of our way of life. And we are going to stand up. We are educated. We are involved. And we will see you on January 13th. And it's not going to pass. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Anthony. Both of your presentations were very strong. It was really great to hear from both of you.
Thank you for having us. Really appreciate the opportunity.
I think you both are stars in your own right. So again, it's Tuesday. It's this coming Tuesday. It's 9 a.m. In person's always stronger than over the phone, but we understand some have to join via Zoom, and we appreciate your support as well. The emails, the Historic Preservation Board members, as many of you know, Randy Hollingworth is a executive board member of the MidBeach Neighborhood Association, so he represents his property. Each one of our members in MBNA is 1 person per property, and then all residents are welcome to join the meetings. But he has excused himself from today's meeting, from all of our executive meetings where this is on our agenda, and is not communicating with us on this topic. And the members as well receive a lot of emails from what we've heard. And sometimes the in-person is really where we're able to communicate and have those conversations. Although we do welcome, if anybody would like to meet with us from the Historic Preservation Board, we'd love to, but we haven't met with any of the members to discuss this project directly. We look forward to seeing everyone on Tuesday at 9 a.m. Any board members from MBNA have any closing comments or remarks? Oh, I apologize. We have one person who's not a board member, but they have joined us and would like to make a comment. Norton? Okay.
Before we close, I just want to say that I think everybody is clear that this is a horror for our city. But again, everybody needs to show up. This is up to the HPB. The city commission and the mayor are not voting on this. Oddly, I don't know why, but that's the way the law works. So it's up to all of us to show up on the 13th at the HPB board and let them understand how we feel.
And we also have members that have not, that are abstaining. And we do have a couple of folks that have told us they would love to see it be family friendly.
Very few.
There are people that really support this concept and really support the Fontainebleau going in this direction. I think that what we're hearing in majority is that the plans themselves, it just feels misleading. It's hard to grasp how this, when really almost like you all are doing whatever you want and will operate it whatever way you want, and it just doesn't match. It's not compatible with our neighborhood, with what we want, with what we see, and really what can fit on your property. And so I don't see that Norton has unmuted, so we're going to go ahead and close today's meeting. The recording will stop and we'll stay if anybody would like to speak afterwards. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Hi.